My boss wouldn't approve my vacation, so I took it anyway and got a promotion. I'd been working at the same accounting firm for 6 years without ever taking more than a long weekend off every tax season. I was the one staying until midnight, fixing other people's mistakes and calming panicked clients. My boss, Richard, called me his secret weapon, Porter, which apparently translated to the person I can dump everything on without additional compensation. Last January, I decided enough was enough. My sister was getting married in Italy in June, peak vacation season, but thankfully after tax madness, and I wanted 2 weeks off to help her and actually see Europe for the first time in my life. I submitted my vacation request 5 months in advance, complete with a transition plan for my clients and projects. Richard's response was, "See, June is busy for us." Every 2 weeks, I followed up. Every time Richard would say, "I am still figuring out the schedule," or "Let's talk about this later." By April, I was getting desperate. My sister needed to know if I'd be there, and I had already put deposits down on flights and accommodations during my annual review, where Richard praised my exceptional dedication while offering a measly 2% raise. I brought it up again about my June vacation request. Richard sighed dramatically. "The Anderson audit starts in June, and you are the only one who understands their filing system. I've created detailed guides and can train someone," I countered. "It's not just about knowledge, it's about client relationships. They trust you. I've given 5 months notice for a 2-week vacation to my sister's wedding. I haven't taken actual time off in 6 years. Richard leaned back in his chair. "Sometimes we have to make sacrifices for our careers. Maybe your sister could change her wedding date." I stared at him in disbelief. That's when I realized Richard was never going to approve my vacation. He didn't value me, he just relied on my inability to say no. That night, I updated my resume. By the end of the week, I had 3 interviews scheduled. 2 weeks later, I had an offer from a competing firm with better pay, better benefits, and a culture that actually respected work-life balance. I didn't tell Richard about my new job. Instead, I waited until exactly 2 weeks before my planned vacation. "Richard, I wanted to remind you that I'll be out of the office starting the 10th of June for my sister's wedding." He looked up from his computer, annoyed. "We discussed this. I can't approve that time off. The Anderson audit." "I understand," I interrupted. "That's why I've already trained Lisa on their filing system and introduced her to their team last week. She's fully prepared to take over." Richard's face reddened. "That wasn't your decision to make. I don't approve this vacation. If you take it, there will be consequences." I smiled and placed an envelope on his desk. "I understand completely. This is my 2 weeks notice. My last day will be the 9th of June. The look on his face was priceless. Shock, then anger, then panic as he realized what was happening. "You can't quit now. What about the Anderson audit? What about your clients?" As I mentioned, Lisa is fully trained on Anderson, and I've prepared transition documents for all my other clients. I stood up. "I've actually been preparing for this possibility for months." The next 2 weeks were fascinating. Richard cycled through the stages of grief, first trying to guilt me, then offering me a raise still less than my new job, then begging me to at least delay my departure until after the Anderson audit. On my last day, the regional director flew in unexpectedly. Richard looked nervous as she called me into a meeting. "Jennifer, Richard tells me you've been training your colleagues and creating detailed process documents for months," she said. "Yes, I wanted to ensure a smooth transition. That's exactly the kind of leadership we need. We're restructuring the department, and I'd like to offer you a senior manager position to working directly with me at the regional level. Better pay, more flexibility, and yes, immediate approval for your vacation." I was stunned. "What about Richard?" She smiled tightly. "Richard will be focusing on his own professional development for a while." I accepted the offer on the spot, called my new firm to decline their position, and went to my sister's wedding as a newly promoted senior manager. The Anderson audit. It went perfectly under Lisa's management. I wasn't irreplaceable after all. I was just underutilized.